you bought a ready-to-run Mini B and it was way too slow and you want to go brushless. This is going to be the best bang for buck way to do it. I went all out with this one. Well, not all out, but I built it exactly how I wanted to build it. What we got here is going to be a pro roller. So I bought the pro roller and then I built it up how I wanted. So this is my paint job here that I did a nice fade, really like it. I got the orange bolts here and the orange bolts there. This is going to be a pain to get the top off with one hand, so I'm going to put this camera here on a stand. Let me just bear with me 1 second. So this is I really like this car. This is probably one of my favorite cars. So what I did here is I went with the Dynamite 2-in-1 just because it seems to be the go-to motor. And I guess you can't really say I went all out. You'd want to have probably a Reefs 99 servo up here. But I did do a different servo in the beginning and I messed up and I put the servo on backwards and I was having problems with the front end a little bit. But yeah, this is a great car. What I went with is I did a Dumbo RC controller here. It's the 6 series version, which means that it has this extra knob here, which allows you to have a gyro. Now, this is what I'll say. If you're racing carpet, you may not need a gyro. If you're gonna race this thing on the dirt, you gotta have a gyro because I can drive this car with the power up 50% more with the gyro on than I can when I turn the gyro off because it helps with the steering. And I don't know if gyros cut power or not. Sometimes I think it does because it will start to go like this and then just straighten right out and go perfect. Maybe it's all steering, not 100% sure. If somebody knows the answer to that and you want to put it in the comments, that would be awesome. But this just made for a really tidy little setup here. So I've got the 2-in-1 Dumbo RC X6FG. You can get this and this here for about 42 bucks on Amazon. And then you get the Dynamite. And then actually this particular servo here is metal geared and it's fast enough. And somebody in one of the Mini B groups suggested it. I got 5 of these for 15 bucks. So, let me see. This is what it is. There's a bunch of knockoff ones. I don't know if this is the knockoff or the other ones are the knockoffs, but they all have this pink on here like this, and they seem to have the same specs. So, that's the way to build a nice, cheap pro roller. Best bang for buck on your pro roller. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, we are going to take this ready to race one, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put one of the cheapest, best brushless setups we can put in it. This here is a 6100 2435 Surpass Hobbies little motor here. Now you want to make sure you get the 2.0 shaft so that it's going to fit. And then you can, let me see if I can get this to focus. So it's a 2435 6100 kV. My only concern is these holes are really big and I'm not sure that they're going to line up. So I'm going to start tearing into this. As you can see here, I've got the stock set up in here and I'm going to probably go ahead and keep the servo that's here, but I'm going to dump this, take this out, I'm going to run this, and then I'm going to run a 35 amp Surpass Hobbies ESC with this. Now the nice thing about the 35 amp is it's going to supply this with all the power that it wants at 2S, but the 35 amp, if you got a lower kV motor, anywhere from like a 3000 to a 4000 in this car, you could run 3S on that 35 amp. So that's why I'm running the 35 amp. I just kind of want that option. Plus I have a 35 amp in this car over here. And this car is just a little bit overpowered It's an SG car. I don't know if you guys know about these or not, but they're awesome. But I'm eating up drive shafts with the clay back there. So I'm gonna take the brush setup out of this, put it in here, and let me see, I don't know if I could do this with one hand or not. I'll go ahead and set this down. I'll show you what the setup I got in here. Essentially scavenging this setup out of here, at least the ESC, and I'm gonna put it in that car. So you can see that's a much bigger motor. I've got a 3000 kV in this, and this could run up to 3S. I've only ran this on 2S, and it was such a fun little car, but I just kept eating up the drive shafts with the clay, and they don't really make an upgrade. Unless somebody knows of one, you can go ahead and hit it in the comments. That'd be awesome. But what I'm stealing out of this is this 35 amp here to go ahead and put in the Mini B. So I'm gonna put this 35 amp, this bad boy here, and the only problem I foresee here is if this is going to line up with the motor mounts and still have the right gear mesh. So that's what we're going to get into. I'm going to start tearing it apart. I'm not going to show you all the tedious stuff of that, but you know, if I hit a spot where something's not working, I'll go ahead and stop and show you guys what's going on. Okay, so here we are. It's in there. I was able to utilize all of the stock stuff, the stock bolts, the stock pinion gear. You can see it's just the right length. Fits right on there. I am a little bit in on it, but still, see, enough where it's, you know, perfectly in line. I could go a little bit over to the left and still hit that perfectly with the set screw. Everything looks good, so looks like this is going to be the perfect size little motor. Again, it's a 2435 6100 kV. Next comes, we're going to have to pull this. Next we're going to have to pull this out of here, and we're going to try to fit it in here and figure out where we're going to put the little gyro and receiver. Quick tip while you're working on your Mini B, if you see this thing here holding your wires in, you know, you don't want to snap this off. Take off the 4 or 5 screws, and then you can get under it, and there's this one screw right here, and that's actually going to pull that out so you can keep your wires nice and tidy. It looks like it's a lot of work, but it really will only take you about a minute to get to this point here. So you got to get to this from the bottom. I learned that with my Mini B Pro. So just plan on doing that when you're going after all this. So here's the finished product over here of the Surpass Hobby setup. It's got the 35 amp ESC. It's got the 2435 6100 kV motor in the rear. This got a little funky in here. I had to do some things that went a little bit differently than I thought. I had to grind out these little sections here so I could push the ESC as far over this way as possible. I guess I didn't have to, but I wanted to make it a little bit more tidy. And then I took a piece of foam block and put it under the receiver here, and then I glued the receiver to it, and that allows me to have the gyro, because I want it, you know, you can either put the gyro this way or this way and it will still work. So I had to fit it in there that way because I had it up here and I couldn't put the top on. So this keeps me low enough to be able to put the top on. So it does take a little bit of modification if you want to run this setup. I mean, I guess I could have just used a piece of foam and not honed out these, but I just wanted it back a little bit further. Another idea was to put this on top of that, but that would have made it kind of front heavy, and I didn't want to mess with the weight distribution that much. So that's it. It's all set. I'd like to get some videos of running both of them and see how they compete against each other. See if this one seems any better. I know that this one is a little bit heavier because of the extra ESC here, but I also know that these are known to need a little bit of weight. A lot of people buy weight kits for these, so maybe it will work out just fine. We'll see. But yeah, I'm glad, overall happy with the way it turned out. I got to kind of tidy this up a little bit more, but other than that, that's it. Surpass Hobby's 35 amp, Surpass motor 2435 in size, and then 6100 kV with a 2mm shaft. And the shaft is actually 12 millimeters long, where this one is 11.75, so this one it will work fine for you if you're worried about that. Everything bolted right up and went in with the motor. And got this all set up. Oh, also wanted to mention these batteries here. 2 of these for 18 bucks on Amazon. And they fit really nice in here. I mean, if you're talking a 650, this is almost twice the size of the gas tank here. They work just fine. I haven't had any issues with them. I know they're kind of a low C rating, but good little budget build here. Probably about 210 bucks to get this set up all right here. If you start with the Pro Roller, so you'd actually be better off than this.